Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a young maiden named Cinderella. She was the beloved daughter of a kind-hearted merchant, who showered her with love and taught her to be gentle and compassionate. Tragedy struck Cinderella's life when her mother passed away, leaving her and her father grief-stricken. In time, her father remarried, hoping to provide Cinderella with a mother's love and companionship. However, his new wife, Lady Tremaine, brought with her two daughters of her own, Anastasia and Drizella. They were vain and selfish, with hearts hardened by jealousy and envy. From the moment Lady Tremaine and her daughters entered their lives, everything changed for Cinderella. They took over the household, turning Cinderella into their servant. She was made to clean the house, tend to the gardens, and serve their every whim while they lived a life of luxury. Despite the cruelty she endured, Cinderella remained kind-hearted and optimistic. She found solace in the company of the animals that roamed the estate, befriending birds, mice, and even the old dog who wandered the grounds. One day, news spread throughout the kingdom that the prince was to hold a grand ball at the palace. It was an event of great significance, as the prince was in search of a bride. Every eligible maiden was invited to attend, including Lady Tremaine's daughters. Excitement filled the air as preparations for the ball began. Cinderella's stepsisters were consumed with thoughts of winning the prince's favor, dreaming of a life of luxury and royalty. They demanded that Cinderella help them with their gowns and jewelry, treating her as their personal servant more than ever. As the day of the ball approached, Cinderella couldn't help but dream of attending herself. She longed to see the palace adorned with lights, to dance under the shimmering chandeliers, and perhaps, just perhaps, to catch a glimpse of the handsome prince. However, Lady Tremaine had other plans. She had no intention of letting Cinderella attend the ball, knowing her natural grace and beauty could outshine her own daughters. With a cold smile, she dismissed Cinderella's hopes, insisting that a mere servant had no place among royalty. Heartbroken but not defeated, Cinderella retreated to the garden, tears streaming down her face. Little did she know, her kindness had caught the attention of someone magical. Suddenly, a soft voice spoke her name, and she looked up to see a radiant woman with a warm smile standing before her. "I'm your fairy godmother," the woman said, her voice as gentle as a summer breeze. "I have been watching over you, my dear Cinderella, and tonight, I shall make your dreams come true." With a wave of her wand, the fairy godmother transformed Cinderella's tattered dress into a gown of shimmering silver and gold. Her worn-out shoes became delicate glass slippers that sparkled with every step. And to top it all off, she conjured a magical carriage, drawn by 6 magnificent white horses, to take Cinderella to the ball. But remember, my dear, the fairy godmother cautioned, the magic will only last until midnight. When the clock strikes 12, everything will return to how it was. Cinderella nodded gratefully, her heart overflowing with joy and gratitude. She climbed into the carriage and set off for the palace, her spirits soaring as high as the stars above. As Cinderella entered the ballroom, there was a hush among the guests. The prince himself was captivated by her beauty and grace, and he approached her with a smile that made her heart skip a beat. They danced together, their movements as light as air, and for a fleeting moment, Cinderella felt like she was living a dream. But as the hours passed by in a blur of music and laughter, Cinderella heard the clock strike midnight. With a gasp, she remembered the fairy godmother's warning and fled from the palace, leaving the prince bewildered in her wake. In her haste, Cinderella lost one of her glass slippers on the palace steps. The prince, determined to find the mysterious maiden who had captured his heart, picked up the slipper and vowed to search the kingdom until he found its owner. Meanwhile, Cinderella returned home, her heart still racing from the magical evening. She changed back into her humble clothes just as the clock finished striking midnight, and the carriage turned back into a pumpkin, the horses into mice, and her gown into rags once more. Days passed, and the kingdom buzzed with excitement as the prince's messengers travelled far and wide, searching for the maiden whose foot fit the glass slipper. When they arrived at Cinderella's house, Lady Tremaine tried to deceive them, presenting her own daughters as candidates. But fate had other plans. As Cinderella watched from the shadows, the prince approached her, holding the glass slipper in his hands. With a mixture of hope and trepidation, Cinderella tried on the slipper, and it fit perfectly. Recognizing her at once as the enchanting maiden from the ball, the prince smiled with joy. He lifted Cinderella into his arms and declared his love for her, much to the dismay of Lady Tremaine and her daughters. And so, Cinderella and the prince were married in a lavish ceremony at the palace, with the entire kingdom rejoicing in their happiness. Cinderella forgave her stepmother and stepsisters for their cruelty, and later learned the power of kindness and compassion. Together, Cinderella and her prince ruled the kingdom with wisdom and fairness, beloved by all who knew them. And they lived happily ever after, their love story a testament to the enduring power of hope, courage, and kindness.